Here's Rodders!
Legends, welcome along to another episode of Here's Rodders Reviews. We're doing Transformers Season 2 again. This episode is called The Gambler. Now, I did say that in these old shows, particularly Season 1 and 2 of Transformers, they weren't big on continuity. You know, so they would set up one thing and then it would be changed somewhere further down along the line. But at the beginning of this episode, it's actually picking up after the events of Child's Play. At the end of that, the Autobots that were trapped on the alien planet, everything was giant compared to them. At the end of the episode, they left and basically an automated toy rocket ship and one that they'd, worked on to get to fly like a normal space cruiser. So at the beginning of this episode, they're actually in this toy ship again. Optimus Prime, Inferno, Perceptor, Bumblebee and Smokescreen, and the energy, whatever they're using to keep the rocket ship going, runs out on them, so they get stranded in space, and they're very swiftly picked up by another ship, which is a guy called Bosch, who is a gambler essentially, and he enslaves the Autobots fairly quickly. He gets them into these chambers that takes away their free will, their ability to transform, their ability to use their weapons and whatnot. They're mindless drones at this point. But his own energon runs out before he can complete the process on Smokescreen. So Smokescreen discovers that he is this gambler and he's obsessed with winning energon chips, and he has this gambling machine on his ship. It's like a one-armed bandit sort of a thing, and he pulls the lever and it comes up as a loss, and I can't believe this, I can't even win in my own machine anymore, and I have it programmed so that I can win, so he can't even cheat to win, this guy Bosch, at this stage. But Smokescreen goes to the machine, and he has got this little thing comes out of his wrist, this little scanner plugs onto the side of the machine, and he pulls the arm of the one-armed bandit and comes up a winner. And Bosch sees his opportunity, and he's like, we can use this to our advantage. We could win so many energon chips. We can use your robot companions as collateral. If we go to Monicus, which is basically a gambling asteroid in space, they can win all the energy they want. So Smokescreen and Bosch come up with this partnership to help Bosch out, get his energon, help free his friends, and get Bosch to take them home. So off they go to the gambling asteroid Monicus, and they end up coming across this guy Lord Gaikini in the pit of destruction, and he is up to no good throughout the whole thing. And they put up the Autobots as collateral. He gives them collateral, is that even pronounced properly? They put up the Autobots to get 50 energon chips, and they're going to go into Lord Gaikini's pit, not his pit of destruction, but into his gambling establishment, and try to win more energon chips using this little cheat that Smokescreen has. And this episode is not so big in the way of, promoting good morals in this one here. It's like gamble like heck, cheat your way through it sort of a deal. But it is what it is. It's an entertaining enough little episode. But we get out into the amusement arcade, let's say, and Smokescreen is going to town. They've got, basically this guy Lord Gaikini has given them an hour to get whatever they need, or they forfeit the Autobots, and the Autobots become his Optimus Prime, Inferno, Bumblebee, Perceptor. But Gaikini's ahead of them, and he's actually setting them up to go into the pit of destruction against the Animalians, which is like a race of mutated creatures that are just flat out wrecking machines. And the Autobots in their current condition, even in their best condition, would have a hard time surviving a confrontation with these guys. And Gaikini actually boosts the Autobots with unstable energon to give them a strength advantage that'll only last for a matter of minutes, and then they're pretty much just cannon fodder for these Animalians. So he has it set up that he's going to be in the 1-1 position either way. Unfortunately for Smokescreen, they're in the casino. They won more than enough energon chips than what they actually need, and he decides he's going to go for one last gamble, and he bets absolutely everything on this last gamble. And one of the workers in the place sees this little scanner coming from his wrist, and he actually knocks it off the machine. So Smokescreen ends up losing all the money that he's won, so they're back to square one. They've lost the remaining Autobots. Gekene has him in the pit of destruction, and at this point of the episode, we actually see some of the Decepticons turning up on Monicus. Astro Train lands. He's got Ramjet and Dirge with him, and they're on their way to see Lord Gekene as well, because Megatron has heard that it turns out Megatron and Lord Gekene have a partnership going, and Megatron's getting energon from Monicus, but Gekene is kind of scheming off the top of whatever the deal is between him and Megatron. So these guys are sent there to sort of sort him out, and they discover that the Autobots are going up against the Animalians. They're going to hang about, check out the Autobots getting their asses handed to them. Another little character that pops up in this throughout the episode is Cesardo, I want to say. I couldn't pick up the proper pronunciation of his name. There's something in the sound mix of this episode. It comes out Cesardo. He's like a little lizard creature. In the sound mix of the episode, whenever somebody says his name, there's something going on in the background that was kind of overpowered by some of the audio. And even at that, I'm getting old now, and this ear isn't what it used to be. So this little guy is like the lackey to Gekene, but it's hard to describe this little creature. He's an annoying little creature. Doesn't speak whatever language he's speaking. It's not English. He kind of just goes over his stuff. Certain people understand him, certain people don't. And he turns up, and he's following Smokescreen and the gambler. Did I even say his name? Bosch. Bosch is the one that got the Autobots at the beginning of the episode. I don't believe I even said his name. Sorry about that. So Bosch is the alien pilot of the ship at the start, gets the Autobots, starts the whole situation, gets them into it. This little creature, Cesardo, is following him and Smokescreen after they get their asses handed to them, lose everything. They're in a bar, basically, kind of drowning their sorrows. And another new character that turned up along with the Decepticons was an unknown character at that point. And he was hiding in the shadows, watching Ramjet and Dirge, seeing what they were doing. It turns out he's an Autobot bounty hunter that left Cybertron back in the Great War, and his name is Defcon. So he turns up, and Slizardo is getting a hard time from a couple of robots in the bar, and he actually steps in and kind of pulls these guys off him, and he goes about his business again. And the little creature, Slizardo, comes running over after Defcon and Smokescreen discover that they're both Autobots. They're having a chat, and Slizardo comes over and he's kind of kissing Defcon's hand, but Defcon doesn't really understand what's going on at this moment. And Bosch tells him that this little creature is, he's so thankful for saving his life, that he's just committing his life to you in servitude, more or less. And this whatever sort of creature, race of aliens this little guy comes from, it's like a good treatment towards him, deserves the ultimate respect in return, and he's willing to put his whole life in Defcon's corner at this point to pay him back, and he kind of brushes him off, says, "Don't worry about it, forget about it," sort of a deal. But we head back to the stadium. The Autobots are going up against the Animalians. Optimus Prime goes in first. He goes well, gets the first hit on this creature, but the unstable energon that he was injected with runs out, and the creature comes in, gets the upper hand on him. Inferno was sent in next. It's easy to see that the tide of this battle is going to turn very, very quick against the Autobots. So Smokescreen, using the one big ability he has, the name Smokescreen is pretty much as exhaust fumes whenever he's in his car form. Just smoke everywhere. He uses it to disorientate and even hide himself at times from enemies. And he transforms, fills the whole stadium with smoke, and everybody gets out. And the Autobots aren't saved, but Ramjet and Dirge are there. They chase Smokescreen and Bosch off and get the upper hand. They're just about to kill the two of them when Defcon turns up, shoots what's their names? Ramjet and Dirge. God almighty, how did you forget those pair of clowns? Defcon turns up and blows them guys out of the sky. They retreat, and we discover that Lord Gaikane and Dirge and Ramjet, they're heading for Astro Train. They're about to skip the asteroid and get out after everything that's happened in the stadium. Lord Gaikane has ended up in, there's that much money been bet on the fight with the Autobots and the Animalians. Like, he's pretty much ruined at the end of the episodes. He's going to skip the asteroid along with the Decepticons, and we get the final little showdown at the end of the episode with Defcon going after the Decepticons along with Smokescreen, and even Bosch and little Cesardo get in on the action, and Gaikane is surprised that his own little partner, is what he thought, like little Cesardo would back him to the end of time, but he's switched sides now to back up Defcon and the Autobots and going for the side of good instead of for the side of greed at the end of the episode. So with Defcon being there, he's got brittle firepower. He's gonna, he gets in a fight, he's pretty much going to get the upper hand each time. He's a one-man wrecking machine basically, and he gets the tide of the fight turned in the Autobots' favour, and Astro Train transforms into rocket form, and he says, or space shuttle form, and he tells Ramjet, Dirge, get in, we're out of here. So they escape, and Defcon is going to go in pursuit of them once again. He transforms into his space shuttle rocket form, and he says to Slizardo, I offer you to come with me as my partner, sort of a thing. So you really do feel sorry for Slizardo the whole way through this episode, because he's a lackey essentially to whoever he's working for, and Gaikane treated him bad, ordered him about, literally threw him on the floor at one point whenever he was following the Autobots. He was going into the bar to see what they were doing. Two robots were giving him a hard time, had him lifted up and pressed against the wall, so he was up against it the whole time. And the first person that actually gave him some genuine interaction, it seems, in his life, or at least in this episode, was Defcon. So whenever the Decepticons escape and Defcon's going to go in pursuit of them, he offers Cesardo the opportunity to come with him as his partner. And the little guy, he's overjoyed at the end of the episode, and Bosch is like, taps him in the back. He's like, what are you waiting for? Off you go. So the little guy jumps up onto the top of Defcon. This little hatch opens up for him to get into, and he's waving, he's all happy. It's a nice little ending for this little creature, and it was a nice little episode. So everything's wrapped up at this point, and Bosch restores Optimus Prime and the remaining Autobots back to what they were at the beginning of the episode. They got their free will back, their ability to transform and whatnot, and they're like, they can't remember anything that happened. And Inferno is like, the last thing I remember was this guy was frying us. And the smokescreen steps in and he says, a lot of stuff's happened right here, but trust me, Bosch is our friend, and he's actually offered to take us back to Earth. But saying as we're here, gambling asteroid right over there is the money. How about some R&R? Let's go and do a little bit more gambling before we leave. And Optimus Prime pipes up, why not? Autobots transform, off he goes. As I say, it's not so much in the, usually in these episodes in the 80s that there was particularly in the other series I'm doing, He-Man, the Masters of the Universe, there was always huge morals been taught to the kids that were watching these episodes. But this episode here on the Transformers, there's a lot of morals in it as well. I would say you'd be hard pressed to find anybody from my generation that would say that wouldn't say that Optimus Prime had taught them a lot of good morals while they were watching the Transformers. But on this one here, it's like the Autobots, they're gambling and they're cheating. And well, of course, you did get the lesson that, when Smokescreen lost, it's like, you bet everything you're going to lose, sort of a deal. But it's a weird little episode. It's an enjoyable episode, but for some reason I kind of feel slightly out of place in this series of the Transformers, and in the whole run of the Transformers for some weird reason. I've got no idea why I feel that way about it, but as I say, it seems to be a continuation on from the episode that was, I'm going to say, they weren't big into when I say they weren't big into, keeping things in order or continuity, and that Child's Play was definitely a stoner episode for sure. Like, go back, watch it, you'll completely agree with me once you watch it. But on the run after Child's Play, we had Quest for Survival, which had all the Autobots on Earth once again. And in the following it was actually 2 episodes ago, so with Child's Play, at the end of that, the Autobots were heading out and to go back to Earth. We had Quest for Survival and The Secret of Omega Supreme in between that and this episode, and this episode is a continuation of it. So it's the fact that the gambler, to me, feels a little bit out of place in the world of the Transformers. It is connected to Child's Play, and it was a stoner episode, and that definitely felt out of place. So that's no big surprise, but I'm just wondering why the run of it was like this. Like 2 episodes in between. The only 2 episodes that are kind of connected to each other, bar the 2-parters. Like, you do get the odd 2-part story that are, it is a connected story. But whenever you get 2 separate stories that aren't, listed as a 2-parter, but they're definitely a genuine continuation of the other one, why would you put 2 episodes in between those 2? It doesn't make any sense. But it is what it is. That was a bit of a flipping tangent there. I don't even know why I went down that road whatsoever, but that's the beauty about YouTube and podcasting and talking about this sort of stuff, is building the community with you guys. So hopefully you're just having as much fun hanging out and listening to this nonsense as I am hanging out and talking to you about it. So that's going to do it for this episode, and we'll get another one up very, very shortly. Guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. Please consider subscribing to the channel, and if you do, don't forget to turn on that bell icon to be notified of future uploads. And please check out some of the other videos on this channel while you're here.